6 down and 2 to go in the round of 16 in the Champions Cup, and the final whistle has just gone at the Aviva Stadium between Leinster and Leicester. These are my initial thoughts immediately following the final whistle. I haven't mentioned the score yet, just in case you've stumbled across this video and you don't want to know, but be warned, I'm going to tell you right now. Congratulations to Leinster. 36-22 it finished in Dublin, and it's a strange one, isn't it? Because I think, weirdly, obviously Leinster will be very happy to have progressed to a quarter-final. They will also know they need to improve, and they will improve, I'm sure, ahead of next week. I'll get onto that game in just a minute. And Leicester, whilst losing, conceding 36 points, I think they can feel quite spirited and in quite good heart about how their team went about their business. So yeah, lots to talk about on the channel. If you appreciate your rugby, you love your rugby, and you appreciate the content on the channel, please hit subscribe. I'll tell you one thing that doesn't cost you anything but really helps. Smash that like button, give it a thumbs up, and help me reach other rugby fans. I'm Tim, this is Egg Chasers, and can we just take a moment to appreciate that the games we've seen today, whilst the Stormers have gone out and Leicester have gone out, it does set up this fixture, which has become very, very personal between these teams after recent occasions. The finals that we've seen, the biggest showpiece events in this competition. And, well, for La Rochelle, they have got the better of Leinster, but that just makes next week all the spicier for the pain that Leinster have been through at the hands of La Rochelle in finals gone by. And those have been some of the best games of rugby, let alone club rugby, that you will have seen in recent years. So I cannot wait for next week. I also can't wait for all the Ronan O'Gara that we're going to see and hear from in the next week. He always makes it interesting. La Rochelle, or Yellow Munster, as I've seen them referred to. And yeah, it's going to be pretty spicy with Ronan O'Gara heading back to Dublin next weekend. It's just one of those great modern rugby rivalries. And can Leinster get the better of La Rochelle next week? Well, we're going to find out next week. They'll know they need to improve, although they definitely showed their efficiency in attack, because Leicester, to be fair to them, started really well, got the early try, coming back to that game, and then it was kind of like England v Ireland at Twickenham, wasn't it? Where England started really fast, were going to the width. Leicester showing their intent, thinking, right, we may well lose, but we're going to go out on our feet. And they had a crack. They got the early try. Ross Burns settled the nerves a little bit with Leinster's first attack, kicking 3 points, and then basically Jamison Gibson Park did Jamison Gibson Park things. It's amazing, isn't it? Jamison Gibson Park is that good that I would actually entertain the conversation: who's the best scrum half in the world, Jamison Gibson Park or Antoine Dupont? Now, for the record, I would come down on the side of Antoine Dupont. I don't know many people that wouldn't, but the fact that I would entertain the conversation that Jamison Gibson Park may be playing as well as one of the greatest players ever to have played the game, and certainly in my lifetime, and since Jonah Lomu, I don't think anyone has kind of been a big of a star, both as a presence and a character off the pitch and as a player on it, as Antoine Dupont. And Jamison Gibson Park is just playing out of his skin. And to think he was only a backup scrum half for Leinster when he arrived a few years ago, it's unreal the way he plays. And he is just the brains of Leinster. He's the brains of Ireland. And when you think about the fact that a generational talent for club and country in Johnny Sexton is now retired, my goodness me, Leinster and Ireland, I think Jamison Gibson Park is a massive reason why that transition has been smooth. I'll get onto the fly half situation with Leinster in a minute though, because that still concerns me a little bit, I have to say. But let's just marvel at how good Jamison Gibson Park is. Clinical attack. I mean, it's simple shapes that Leinster do. They just do it very well. Their level of skill at high speed is outstanding. So yeah, they have the decoy runner. They have the runner out the back. Pop it back, Joe McCarthy bursts through. It's just the timing, much like with Ireland, and the intricacy and accuracy of their attack. It's just the timing, and there's just a hive mind with Leinster, and that attack was just perfect. So yeah, McCarthy busts through, Jamison Gibson Park support line, try. And his awareness as well with the second try, as he's putting his hands on the ball at every ruck, his head is up. And I've told the scrum halves for the teams that I play at, like my son's team, I've said to the scrum half in our team, watch Jameson Gibson Park, because he arrives at a breakdown and his head is up. He just knows what's going on, and he spotted the space. Brilliant pass, flat to Dan Sheehan, who, by the way, Dan Sheehan could be a class international winger. He is exceptional on the wing. And and then running the support line, just effortless, absolutely effortless. Andre Pollard got the penalty back, so it was 15-10, and then we're just living in a Jameson Gibson Park world, another try from him. And then there was a really key moment. Leicester were on attack, and could have scored, should have scored maybe. Joe McCarthy turnover, James Lowe big left boot, and got them out of trouble and got them kind of home and hosed for the first half at least. What else did I say here? Second half, brain dead penalty from Andrew Porter. He does do that a little bit. I mean, I love the man. He's absolutely immense. But he is prone to the odd little lapse in rugby IQ. It was when he was diving to nail JVP. That's one thing I like about these two teams. It's like they're two titans of European rugby, two of the biggest clubs in the continent and in their respective country, and have won the tournament before, and they've got scrum halves. One's got a JGP, one's got a JVP. Their names are almost identical, Leinster, Leicester. It's just a nice matchup. James Lowe yellow card for that deliberate knock-on. Now that was a big moment. James Cronin scored the try. That got them back to within 7, and then with a man advantage, Leicester were looking really dangerous. The space was outside on the wing that James Lowe would have been stood on if he wasn't having a sin bin. Leicester, as far as I could see, had a 3-on-2, and they went for the big miss pass. Unnecessarily, I would say. Robbie Henshaw, great intercept. It was kind of win or bust. Could have gone the other way. And they went and kind of got the 14-point lead, which, despite a late rally from Leicester, despite a good try from Conan after he had one, he knocked on over the line, then a good try. And that try, by the way, Jamie Osborne, nice pass. Ryan Baird on the rampage. That guy's a freak. Ryan Baird is a physical freak. And then Conan finishing it off. Conan with a lovely sidestep as well, and gas. So, yeah, the 14-point lead, despite a little rally from Charlie Clare with a try at the end and Leicester trying to attack. And the ending was a little bit, I don't know, just got a bit loose from Leinster's perspective. They can definitely improve, but they did the job. And let's just go through some of the performances. Well, firstly, I think you've got to acknowledge Leicester had no George Martin, no Ollie Chesham, no Tommy Raffel. That is 3 high-calibre, international-level forwards, and that would have made a difference. No question, that would have made a difference. And when you consider there was that point where Leicester was 7 points behind, and if they'd just done a simple 3-on-2, they would have scored to level the game. It could have been a lot tighter than the scoreline suggests. Leinster were the better team, did have too much firepower, but was not far from perfect. On the selection front for them, I mentioned I talk about the 10 position. Well, I was slightly surprised to see Ross Burns starting the game, not because he's not the next cab off the rank from Leinster's point of view. He is clearly favoured generally above his brother Harry. But Ross Burns been injured. Harry started last week. So Ross Burns was kind of thrown into it with no significant game time under his belt. And I think looked a little bit rusty at times. And that is a concern when you're coming up against La Rochelle and the physical onslaught they're going to bring. What do you do? On the plus side, though, Jamie Osborne, I thought, looked really good at 12. And when you don't have Gary Ringrose in your starting 15, and I don't know what his outlook is and when his return is, but that was a big tick in the box. As for Jack Conan, do you put Jack Conan in your back row for next week against La Rochelle? That physicality that he brings, Aldrit against Conan, or do you stick with the back row and have Conan's impact off the bench? I mean, it's just says everything about Leinster. James Ryan wasn't even available to play today, and you've got Jack Conan on your bench. The embarrassment of riches they have got. But I'd say fair play Leicester. Again, they lost, but I think they can hold their head up. And I thought that when I saw the team sheets without Raffel, without Martin, without Chesham, I thought Leicester were going to get handily beaten. And I also thought, when I looked at the team sheets, that Saracens would be competitive. And as it happened, it was the reverse. Bordeaux absolutely wiped the floor with Saracens. And Leinster, well, the scoreline suggest it was more comfortable, and they were the better team, but Leicester gave a good account of themselves. Leinster will improve for next week, and I cannot wait for that fixture. Where are we? Yeah, that again. Let all of the pain of last year come bubbling back to the surface. It's going to be personal, and I cannot wait. Let me know what you think. Comments down below. Hit that thumbs up button. That really helps me reach rugby fans everywhere. And then hit subscribe if you haven't already. I would love it if I would earn your subscription. Nice one. I'll see you on the next video.